What would happen if an asteroid slammed into the moon and completely destroyed it? And let's say the moon gets shattered. What if one of those giant chunks comes crashing down to Earth? Are we gonna go extinct like the dinosaurs? All right, let's break this down step by step and find out. Will Earth survive, or are we totally doomed? The moon is massive. 3,474 kilometers across, with a mass of about 7.35 times 10 to the 22nd kilograms. To destroy it, we'd need an unbelievably huge asteroid. So let's imagine a 500-kilometer asteroid hitting the moon at 20 kilometers per second, which is actually a pretty normal speed for asteroids in the solar system. To figure out how powerful that impact would be, we use the kinetic energy formula. Ke equals 1/2 times m times v squared. In our formula, m is the mass of the asteroid, let's say 10 to the 19th kilograms, and v is its speed, which is 20 kilometers per second. If we run the numbers, we get an energy of 500 billion megatons of TNT. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how big is that really? Well, the largest nuclear bomb ever tested, the Tsar Bomba, was only 50 megatons. So yeah, 500 billion megatons versus 50 megatons? That's not even a comparison. This asteroid could absolutely obliterate the moon. Next step, what happens if the moon's debris comes crashing toward Earth? After the moon gets destroyed, huge fragments would scatter into Earth's orbit. Some of those pieces would eventually fall toward our planet because of gravity. So let's see what happens if one of those big chunks hits Earth. Imagine a 10-kilometer piece of the moon entering the atmosphere at 15 kilometers per second. To calculate the impact energy, we'll use the same kinetic energy formula again. Here, m is the mass of that fragment, about 10 to the 15 kilograms, and v is its speed, 15 kilometers per second. The energy released when that chunk hits Earth would be about 2 million times more powerful than the Tsar Bomba. A fragment that big could carve out a crater over 100 kilometers wide and several kilometers deep. Anything alive within a 1,000-kilometer radius would be wiped out almost instantly. It would also throw massive amounts of dust into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight. And if the fragment landed in the ocean, it could generate 100-meter-tall tsunamis capable of destroying entire coastal cities. So, does this sound like what killed the dinosaurs? Unfortunately, yes. The asteroid that hit Earth about 66 million years ago was around 10 to 15 kilometers wide, almost the same size. The energy released by that impact is estimated at around 10 to the 23rd joules, which is nearly the same as the moon fragment we just talked about. But that's not even the whole story. If the moon is destroyed, Earth would lose its balance. You might not know this, but right now, Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees, and without the moon, that tilt could start wobbling under the gravitational pull of planets like Jupiter or even the Sun. And a shifting axis is bad news. It could trigger major planetary disasters like polar shifts because the angle of sunlight hitting the poles would change. The poles would start receiving sunlight at a much more direct angle than they do today. As a result, the polar ice caps would start melting rapidly. And as you've probably guessed, sea levels could rise by up to 60 meters, flooding countless cities. And that's not all. With Earth's axis shifting, the geographical poles would move too. Places that used to be freezing could become warm, and the opposite could happen as well. Siberia could turn into a mild region, and Greenland might become a tropical rainforest. The moon has a huge influence on Earth. It's responsible for most of the tides we experience. Without it, tides would become extremely weak and irregular, shrinking by nearly 60%, and whatever's left would mostly be caused by the sun instead. These changes would also affect countless marine species. Even our days would get shorter because the moon actually slows down Earth's rotation. Without it, Earth would spin faster and our days would become shorter. Weather patterns would also shift dramatically in a moonless world. So, would we survive all of this? If we're lucky and the asteroid hits the moon at just the right angle so the biggest fragments get flung away from Earth, we might escape extinction. But even if humanity survives, life on Earth would never be the same. Because without the moon, our planet would face massive and permanent changes. From moon fragments smashing into Earth to shifts in our planet's axis and melting polar ice, life would never be the same again. Friends, share your thoughts with us. Your curiosity and opinions could inspire our next video. If you enjoyed this wild journey, make sure to follow Factoria so we can step together into the next adventure.